Welcome to TV Recaps. Today I will be recapping a black comedy drama series. The Roy family, owners of media conglomerate Waystar RoyCo, fight for control of the company amidst uncertainty of their father's health in a highly competitive media landscape. Before we start, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for our channel. Please sit tight and enjoy the recap of the TV show, Succession, Season 1. Oh, and of course, spoilers ahead. The show begins with media magnate Logan Roy, CEO of the media conglomerate Waystar RoyCo. Due to his declining health, Logan is set to retire and will soon be succeeded by Kendall, his second oldest son. However, Logan has a change of mind and instead of stepping down, announces, during his 80th birthday, that he will continue on as CEO. Logan presents his children, Roman, Shiv, Connor, and Kendall with papers to sign that would give his wife, Marcia, 2 votes to decide the company's successor when he dies. Kendall is enraged by his father's betrayal. Later, Logan fires his longtime friend and COO, Frank, and gives his job to Roman to convince him to sign the papers. However, Roman and Shiv, even after receiving favorable terms from Logan, refuse to sign the papers. He is shocked by their response and collapses from a hemorrhagic stroke. Logan is rushed to the hospital. At the company, Kendall is securing the acquisition of digital media startup, Volter, as part of a new investment strategy to save the company's deteriorating profit margins. He receives word of Logan's stroke from Lawrence, Volter's CEO, and rushes to the hospital. The Roy family argues over who should take control of Waystar in the wake of Logan's stroke. Roman and Connor want to sign the papers out of respect for their father's wishes, whereas Shiv refuses to sign over power to Marcia in the event of Logan's death, and Kendall believes he should become CEO. They finally decide that Kendall will become acting CEO of Waystar with Roman as COO. After the announcement, Jerry, Waystar's general counsel, informs Kendall that the company is $3 billion in debt, taken out by Logan in 1985 to expand into parks. If Waystar's stock falls below $130 per share, the bank is entitled to pursue full repayment of the loan. After taking over as CEO, Waystar's stock price drops below $130. Kendall fails to negotiate with the bank and enlists the help of Stewie, his college friend who is now a private equity investor. Stewie agrees to inject $4 billion into Waystar in return for voting stock and a seat on the company's board. Kendall is also trying to save his marriage with Rava, his estranged wife, but after a night together, she confirms she has already hired a divorce lawyer. Meanwhile, Logan has woken up and moved back home. However, Marcia prevents anyone from seeing him, assuring the family that he is recovering and needs to rest. Later, Logan requests to see Kendall. He informs Logan that he used private equity to repay the bank loan, sacrificing some control of the company to stave off financial decline. Logan disapproves. Sometime later, Logan returns to the company and rehires Frank to mentor Roman in his position as COO. Kendall prepares his speech for the company's annual charity gala, which is managed by Connor, his older brother. Meanwhile, Tom, Shiv's soon-to-be husband, starts his new role as the head of Waystar's Parks and Cruises division. Greg, Logan's incompetent great-nephew who was recently fired from his job, is given a position under Tom. As part of the handover, Tom receives secret documents from his predecessor. The documents confirm a massive cover-up of crimes committed on the company's cruises, including sexual assault and murder. Panicked, he relays this information to both Greg and Shiv to ask for advice. At the charity gala, Connor notices changes in the transcript of Kendall's speech, leading him to believe that Kendall plans to announce Logan's retirement. He tells Logan, who makes a speech in Kendall's place and announces that he is returning to Waystar as CEO. Kendall is disappointed by the announcement. Tom plans to go public about the cruise scandal, but Jerry advises against it during the gala. He angrily accuses Greg of snitching, which he denies. Tom concludes that it must have been Shiv, the only other person he spoke to about the scandal. However, Jerry is shown thanking Greg in private, confirming that he did disclose the information to her, and was lying to Tom. Thanksgiving is around the corner. Marcia invites Ewan, Logan's estranged brother and Greg's grandfather, to dinner, and Greg travels to Canada to pick him up. Logan decides to expand into local TV, against the advice of his counsel. Worried his erratic behavior will destroy the company, Kendall secretly plots a vote of no confidence against his father to oust him from the company. During dinner, Tom tasks Greg to shred company documents pertaining to the cruise scandal, but he secretly makes copies before destroying them. An argument erupts between Logan and Ewan over the company's unethical business practices, and Ewan storms out. As he leaves, Kendall tries to get Ewan's support, who is a board member, on his vote of no confidence against Logan, but he refuses to conspire against his own brother. Next morning, Kendall, Roman, Frank, and Jerry work together to amass support from board members to vote in favor of removing Logan from his position as CEO. Roman and Kendall successfully sway Lawrence and Stewie to their side. On the day of the vote, Kendall flies to Long Island to visit an ailing board member at her home and convince her to vote with him. Unfortunately, he is unable to take a helicopter back to Manhattan due to temporary flight restriction over a possible terror threat. Kendall takes a car ride back and ends up stuck in a severe traffic jam. The board meeting starts without him, and he has no choice but to call for the vote over a phone call. However, a furious Logan refuses to leave the room during the vote and exerts pressure on the board to vote for him. As a result, Stewie and Lawrence both abstain from voting and Roman votes in support of him. Logan wins the vote and fires everyone who voted against him, including Kendall and Frank.
I'll go on, cry me a river. Get the fuck out. Straight out! Pass is cancelled.
Should get some things, okay?
No goodbyes! Thank you!
Get fucking hands off me.
In the aftermath of the vote, Kendall sues Logan for firing him from Waystar. Tabloid news falsely suggests that Kendall, a recovering drug addict, has relapsed. Logan attempts to repair his public image by holding a family therapy session at Connor's ranch in New Mexico, which Kendall chooses not to attend. Connor receives the family with Willa, her girlfriend who is also an escort. He confesses his love to Willa and suggests that they become exclusive, which she reluctantly agrees. After a fruitless first session, Shiv is persuaded by Nate, a fellow political consultant and ex-boyfriend, to meet with Senator Gill, a Democratic presidential candidate who plans to go after Logan's legacy. Regrettably, the therapist suffers a pool accident and the therapy ends prematurely. Kendall changes his mind and leaves for the ranch. Midway, he gets distracted and joins some locals on a drug binge. Roman brings him back to the ranch, where an argument erupts between Logan and the rest of the family. Logan berates Shiv for meeting with Gill and admits to planting fake news about Kendall's drug use prior to his actual relapse. A month later, Roman, Kendall, Greg, Connor, and Tom are invited by Stewie to a secret underground club for Tom's bachelor party. Tom gets the green light from Shiv to enjoy himself for the night. Unbeknownst to him, she is working closely with her ex, Nate, on Gill's campaign and eventually gets into bed with him. Later, Gill attends an interview on a TN News, Waystar's right-leaning news network, and is questioned on his wife's suicide. Furious, Gill storms out of the interview. Shiv meets Logan to get him to stop the personal attacks on Gill, but he refuses. Logan makes a thinly veiled threat, in which he implies that he will expose her affair with Nate if she does not stop working for him. Shiv refuses and leaves. Marcia later calls Shiv to say that Logan will not be attending their wedding, clearly out of spite. Meanwhile at the party, Tom receives a blowjob from Tabitha, a girl he met at the party, and boasts to Greg about it. Kendall meets with Sandy, Logan's business rival, who reveals that Stewie is working for him all along and offers to buy out Kendall's share in Waystar. However, a vengeful Kendall instead proposes to bring him on board for a hostile takeover of Waystar, in exchange for making him CEO. Shiv and Tom's wedding day arrives. The Roy family gathers at a castle in England where the wedding is held. Kendall, Roman, and Shiv reunite with Caroline, their mother and Logan's second wife. Tom is surprised to find that Tabitha is now dating Roman. To everyone's surprise, Logan changes his mind and shows up at Shiv's wedding, mostly to preserve his public image. Nate meets Tom and tells him of his history with Shiv. Tom confronts Shiv about her infidelity, but she denies it and instead asks about the cruise scandal, hoping to use it as leverage against Logan. Shiv tells Jerry, who is mediating for Logan, that she will keep the cruise scandal secret as long as TN stops slandering Gill over his wife's suicide. Gill and Logan agree to a truce. Kendall is told by Stewie and Sandy that their hostile takeover of Waystar has been moved up to the day of Shiv's wedding, to catch Logan off guard while he is out of the country. Next morning, Kendall hands Logan the letter announcing their intention to buy Waystar for $140 a share. A furious Logan kicks him out and scrambles to get ahead of the situation with his advisors. Kendall's siblings are infuriated to learn that he is collaborating with outsiders to take over the family business. On her wedding night, Shiv confesses to Tom about her affair with Nate and suggests that she is better suited for an open relationship. Tom is devastated but forgives her. However, he kicks Nate out of the wedding. Outside of the castle, Kendall does drugs with a waiter to cope with the stress. They drive off in search of more drugs while intoxicated and end up swerving into the water to avoid a deer. Despite Kendall's best efforts to save the waiter, he drowns. Kendall flees the scene and returns to the wedding in shock. Unfortunately, Logan finds out about his involvement in the accident and uses it as leverage against him. He promises Kendall that he will cover up everything for him if he backs out of the takeover and attends rehab.
You're my number one boy.
The end. Please stay tuned for the next TV recap. Comment below on what you liked or disliked about our video. Thank you for watching.